Hello, welcome everybody. Today I am joined here with the rest of Team Yellow Watermelon with Cheyenne and Marcus. And today we will be looking at the stakeholder presentation. To start off, first we will look at the background of the project. So the problems that the project that we ran into is that the client will face two problems. The first was the issue with the over-allocation of resources. The second was the unexpected increase in the time period between when tasks were completed. As there were tasks which were over-allocated, this meant that some of the tasks had to be delayed. This was done by assigning some of the tasks as predecessors. Otherwise, new tasks were allocated in some cases, which tended to increase costs. Due to additional information provided by the analytics manager, the client requested additional information regarding accounts payable invoices within the dashboard. This caused some issues while implementing within the project management team. So where did these issues take place, and what were the solutions that we as the project management team came up with? So initially, the over-allocation of the resources was a problem within phases A, B, C, and D. In phase A, tasks had to be assigned more resources, which increased costs. In phase B, tasks had to be also assigned more and newer resources to alleviate the pressure and workload, which would and did cause delays. In phase C, tasks were assigned new resources, and as a solution to fixing the over-allocation of resources within phase D, some of the tasks from phase C were set as predecessors. As a solution, we assigned one extra resource within our resource pool, which totaled up to 3 resources with 2 units. This allowed us, the project management team, to further ease the workloads and be able to work efficiently and collectively to meet the deadlines set for the individual tasks. Next, I will pass on to Cheyenne to discuss the project plan.
Thank you for that, Ryan. Now I will continue with the project plan. The initially predicted time frame was 58 days, starting on August 30th and ending on October 27th, 2021. The whole budget was projected to be 35,900 Malaysian ringgit. The total expected time frame is 67 days, starting on August 30th and ending on November 5th, 2021. The total budget is now anticipated to be Malaysian ringgit 43,624. Now moving on to discrepancies. The disparities and variances in timetables and budgets are mostly due to over-allocated resources in phases A, B, C, and D, which prompted the allocation of additional resources, hence raising the cost. However, we believe that these cost increases were essential because the project's total timeline would have been significantly extended. We were able to maintain a realistic project completion schedule due to the increases in resources. When the client requested additional work, we had to go over all of our previous work to see if the new demand would conflict with any existing data. The difficulties we encountered were mostly related to appending current images and computation that had previously been completed, as well as ensuring that everything was right and in order. Another issue we encountered as a result of the increased labor was that the assignment became longer, necessitating the allocation of additional resources and, as a result, higher prices. There was one snag, and that was the lack of time. We assigned the assignment to each of us and established a deadline for completion. We had to add additional tasks to our burden because there were extra tasks and information. Now this concludes my part. I will pass it back to Ryan, who will discuss any closing remarks.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Now looking into the closing remarks, conclusions and learnings. So throughout the tasks and requirements, the project management team learned that Precise resource allocation is very important and can make or break a project. A project must be well funded for issues like this to be able to be resolved quickly and efficiently. Throughout the dashboarding phase, several members collectively aided, and the resources used in combination were used in combination for the completion of this project. There are a variety of ways to display the information. It's fast and efficient to display the necessary information only. So looking into the recommendations, it is key for the client to provide all required and necessary requirements prior to the commencement of the project, or to ensure not to request very late into the project due to issues arising and causing deadline delays and increases in costs. Now I will pass on to Marcus, who will provide a walkthrough of the dashboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Rayan and Cheyenne, for presenting the initial part of the presentation. And now we will move on to walkthrough of the dashboard. Under the Financial Performance tab, the first graph represents the total revenue over time. In the year 2020, it can be seen that there's 84%, while in the year of 2021, there's 15%. The next graph represents the revenue and cost over time. As you can see that the cost is higher than the income. The third graph represents the gross profit margin and profit margin for the month of September. The gross profit margin is 64%, while the profit margin is 35%. Moving on to the cash movements tab, the first graph represents the opening and closing balance over time, while the next graph represents the cash movement over time. It can be seen that the cash received is more than the cash spent, which means that the company has more money on hand. The next both graph is trade payable and trade receivable over time. To give a recommendation, I think that the client should give realistic changes for us to change to prevent the project being delayed. Thank you for watching our stakeholder presentation by Team Yellow Watermelon.